G'day everybody, welcome to Pub Yarns. Once again we're not at the pub, but anyhow we'll get there one day. Anyhow, what a disaster that was. Last week I was spruiking that I was in 3rd place. Ha ha ha. That's not the case anymore. I'm in 8th place. I've dropped down badly because I thought some teams be able to play, which they couldn't. So at the moment I've dropped down to 8th place with 80 points, chasing 90. But I've still got plenty of time to go, and I won't make that mistake again by taking teams that I think weren't good enough. So speaking about teams not good enough, let's recap of last week. First game in last week was the Eels versus the Rabbits, and I really thought the Eels might have done some damage to that, but anyhow, once again I was bitterly disappointed. And by the way, if there's the Dolphins football clubs listening to this, I've got a heap of Parramatta Guernseys and stuff. I wouldn't mind swapping for some Dolphins equipment. I do live in Queensland, so not a drama there. I'd like to support a different team because the Eels, to me, are dead in the water. So recapping the score there, that's 32 to the Rabbits, to 12 to the absolutely hopeless shitbox Eels. Next game in was the Bulldogs versus the Titans, and I thought the Titans would have shown up a little bit better. They were at home and they've been pretty good playing over the last few weeks, but the Bulldogs obviously had a different idea than what they did. So the Bulldogs came up to the Gold Coast and went 30-12 against the Titans. So once again, the Titans lose. Next game in after that was on a Friday night, and bugger me dead, those Broncos, there's a line gonna be put straight through them. They got beat by the Roosters. Once again, the Roosters showed they were too strong. The Broncos just didn't show up for 80 minutes. They look good in patches, but overall, the Broncos season is done and dusted. Next game in was second place, third. That's the Wars in second place, the Dolphins in third. We all knew it was going to be a tight game. It was here in Brisbane, and it looks like those Dolphins are showing that they can play footy. They've drowned that out with a 26-24 win over the Warriors. Well done, the Dolphins. Once again, if the Dolphins are watching, I'm quite keen to swap my Parramatta gear for your gear. Next game in was the shock of the week. This probably stopped a lot of people getting 8 from 8, and that was the Cowboys versus the Panthers. It was up there in Townsville, so the Panthers had to do a bit of travelling, and the weather might have had something to do with it. But anyhow, the Cowboys come away with the bickies there, 26-12. Next game in, once again, I thought the Storm might have turned the corner and looked like they were going to make a charge for the top 8. But once again, Manly had a different idea and they schooled the haphazard Storm and got them by 30-4. I dare say if the Storm has one more defeat, that'll put a line through their season, but we'll see how that rolls around. And then up come the Raiders versus the Dragons. The Dragons have been pretty close for the last 3 or 4 games, and I thought they would have continued with that good form. They did all the way up to half-time. It was a close contest either way, but after half-time, ill discipline and poor footy cost the Dragons the game. There was a controversial penalty in there which could have swung the game both ways, but at the end of the day, you got to take the good with the bad, and obviously the Dragons were the bad. Good for Sticky, he got away with a win, 24-16. Next up was the good old Knights against the West Tigers, and it took pretty well all the way to full time before the result was actually done, where one of the Newcastle players took a ball from his in goal and basically ran it to the other end and scored. And that put the end to the Knights game. That was the Knights got 12, the Tigers good old 6. Alright, this week, it's a short week. We've only got 5 games on. And no Thursday night footy, thank God, and no Monday night footy, even better. Can't stand either formats. Football should be played Friday, Saturday and Sunday. That way, if you've got a game on Friday and Saturday, you've got time to recover and don't have to go to work. Whereas if you've got that Mondays and Thursdays, well, obviously people throw sickies. But anyhow, that's here nor there. We'll start off with the Panthers playing the Rabbits. The Rabbits are still without Latrell. There's a few injuries amongst the South Sydney team. I think Murray's playing State of Origin. And for the Panthers, they've got a few injuries, and they've also got Yo, Cleary, Topo's back, because he's not playing Origin this week. He's been dropped from the New South Wales side, so we'll see how that rolls around. I'm tempted to take the Rabbits, but I think with Toto coming back, I think the Panthers have got enough. So I'm going to go to the Panthers by 5. Next game in is the St. George versus the Tigers. St. George has let me down far too many times this year, so I'm not going to back the St. George this week. They did target one of the guys from the Newcastle team last week by kicking to the corner, but the Tigers have got too much in the tank. So I'm going the Tigers. Tigers by 8. Next game in is the Brisbane Broncos, who I've actually put a line through. And I think the Cronulla Sharks are just going to be too strong. Nico's still playing, he's not in the State of Origin, so he'll be putting up a good show. The Sharks are up on the competition ladder, and they'd be pretty keen to keep that going. Where, well, like I said, the Brisbane Broncos season is done and dusted. So I'm going to go the Sharks by 12. But here's in Brisbane, but that's still okay. Next up, we're going to have a crack at the Parramatta Eels. I just can't. Mate, I can't back. I just can't back them, mate. So I'm going to go Manly this week. Turbo's back. Moses is out for Parramatta. Parramatta's just no good this year. Bring back Brad Arthur, maybe. Maybe. At least he got him to the semis more than anybody else. But apart from that, I'm going to go Manly. Manly by plenty. I'm going to go Manly by 16. Next up is the Sunday game. It's the Newcastle Knights against the Dolphins at Newcastle. This is going to be a tricky game to pick. Still got Dylan Brown in Newcastle. We've got Gagai, and we've got a whole heap of players out for the Dolphins. Am I game enough to go to Knights? Last week they nearly lost the game last week. They have been playing good footy. Knights beat the Dragons by not much. Knights beat the Tigers by a fluke. Dolphins have been playing. Dolphins beat the Roosters. Now I'm going to have to take the Roosters. Take the Roosters. Now I'm going to have to take the Dolphins. Dolphins by not by much. Dolphins by 3. So let's recap of what we said. Panthers by 5 over South Sydney. St. George, no chance against the Tigers. Tigers by 8. Cronulla to beat the Broncos. Cronulla by 12. The Sea Eagles to beat Parramatta. 16. Probably more like 60, but we'll see how that rolls around. And we're going to take the Dolphins to beat the Knights only by 3. The Dolphins are missing Ponga on top, so maybe the Ponga hammer thing won't be too hard. Anyhow, that's it for this week. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.